Good evening. So tonight I am joined by Katerina Newbury. Hi, Katerina.
Hi, Jackie.
It's lovely to finally meet you.
Likewise.
So what I'm going to do to start off with is hand over to you so you can just tell us a little bit about where you are and what you do and what's led you to do what you do.
Mm. Thank you, Jackie, and thank you for the opportunity to share with you and the audience about my work. We just had a little chat earlier, and we have so much in common. So I will try and be brief and concise.
Not at all, not at all.
So, so yeah, I'm Katerina. My business is called Mindcraft, and what I do is help families build a peaceful, calm home and life. I start off with the child um, who may be struggling because probably they're highly sensitive. They may be on the autism spectrum or ADHD. And for parents who have children like that, life can be very intense, can be very demanding, overwhelming, as they navigate not just being a parent, but being a parent to a child that has, say, a unique experience of this world. So, um, I know that it's a very talked about subject at the moment, but just to give a very brief overview of, what being autistic means. We're not talking about someone who's like Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, someone who's kind of very awkward or, very strange and with particular kind of genius type behaviors and qualities. But, you know, being autistic means that you have intense experience of this life in terms of your sensory reception. So you can be sensitive or oversensitive to sound, to touch, to noise, to touch. Things that other people will not even notice can cause overwhelm, discomfort, and the whole of the nervous system basically gets overwhelmed. And for a small child whose nervous system is still developing, this is incredibly challenging. um they also have or tend to have deeply kind of emotional experience of their surroundings, the environment they're in. They can pick up on kind of vibes and moods very easily. So if there is tension in the room or there is an atmosphere, they just pick up on it really, really easily. And all of that makes the life experience very intense. However, it comes with gifts and beautiful traits that these children bring, and they off because they're the ones who kind of think outside the box. They are often very creative, innovative, and kind of show us the truth of where things kind of don't suit us as human beings, not just for those who are autistic, but as a mankind. We live in a world where we're often detached from nature, disconnected from um, being authentic, really connecting with our feelings. And in a nutshell, that's the invitation and opportunity autistic children and other neurodivergent children kind of bring with them to their families, to their schools. So as opposed to viewing them as kids with special needs, and I want to honor the fact they need a different approach and their needs are specific and maybe different to other children. But my personal understanding and belief is that we all have innate needs, and these needs vary from individual to individual. And these children, um, may have maybe more acute needs, but they are still needs. So if we look at them as individuals with these specific needs and find ways to accommodate them, then they can thrive. And I guess that's where I support the parents as well, because very often the parents themselves may be neurodivergent. They may not just be aware of it. That was my case as well. I didn't realize. And creating the right environment in which the child can be learns or can regulate their nervous system so that they can just live the best life they can is at the core of kind of what I do. So I help the child just feel really good in their own skin. I use various modalities from mindfulness to meditation to working with movement, creative activities. I use sound and also work with energy because these children are very sensitive, like I said, to the vibes and the mood. So that all happens kind of um, in the body and kind of beyond. And um, that's true for the parents as well. So parents then can benefit from learning how to best support their child in their uniqueness as well, whilst um, becoming as regulated and calm in themselves. Because the one thing that is crucial and underpins everything is that the parent creates the environment in which the child can feel regulated, can feel calm, can feel good in their own skin, can be themselves. And that happens through actually our neural connections, through kind of mirror neurons, through the energy and the vibe. So, yes, I'll pause there.
I, I'm going to be completely honest with you. You have just made me tingle from head to toe. Um, this hits very personally for me. So
Okay.
I have a son who is on the autism spectrum,
Hmm.
and he's going to be 17 this year. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey. And it's still a journey. And I only wish I had met you before. Um, yeah, I mean, from a personal perspective, I can honestly say the work that you do is life-changing for these families. And I know that without having yet worked with you, but from just the things that you've said and the way you've described it, yeah, it's so needed, so needed. So yeah, you've sort of blown me away a little bit because I'm just sitting here thinking she's just so tapped into my life.
Hmm.
So yeah,
It's
um,
I mean, thank you so much for your words. It really touches me. And again, just to reciprocate, you've just made my day. So,
oh good.
thank you, thank you so much. Um, it's been, a journey, for me as well. Even though it's so much more widely spoken about, there's people more open and interested in all this. I still have kind of found my own way into it and I still approach it kind of differently.
Yeah,
I think that we can all agree, well, the majority of people would now kind of be open to the idea that these children um, don't need fixing. There's no problem as
yeah,
such. Um, Not everyone, but we're getting there. Um, where I wanna take it further to the point where actually the people. who spend time in these kids' presence actually learn from them,
Yes.
and they become like the catalyst for almost like a personal change. So I've had to work really hard on making sure that the energy that I bring into the spaces I work with the children, it is kind of almost as you would say, as pure, I'll use that word, pure as possible, because these children reflect back to us everything, every single thing where there would be even like slight indication of any pressure, demand, agenda. If we come into a space with, our adult idea of what we want from them, there's a massive pushback. And if you are sensitive to that, it's a huge opportunity to really become like the best version of yourself that
Yeah.
you can be.
Yeah.
But it's deep work, but it's transformative and totally worth it for those who open themselves to it. Um, it's not for the faint-hearted either. At the same time, it's exactly what we need in the world
Definitely.
right now.
Definitely.
Um, I say that a lot, is that, people are calling for change. We can see all the things that are dysfunctional in this world. I mean, every area of our life. My personal interest has always been relationships, education, also, I guess, approach to health and well-being. And these kids, I believe, are the ones who will come up with the solutions that we need, because they think for themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of them are very innovative if they are given the space and
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
to pursue it. And my theory is that the numbers of these kids will continue to grow.
Mm.
Um, and it will just, I mean, hopefully, um, be like snowball effect in terms of the systems having to really look at how they approach these kids, and what are all the things that need to change, rather than kind of fixing individual children. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting because I actually have been working in education for the last 4 years. I'm a one-to-one teaching assistant at the minute. I've got 5 weeks left until I finish, and then I launch full time into my doula business. Um,
Beautiful.
but yeah, absolutely, from an education point of view, um, we're just not meeting the needs of these children at the minute. There's not the understanding there within the education settings as much as, they're trying. It's just so limited. And
Mm.
there's not the space to let these children be themselves and do things the way it works for them. And
Mm.
it's so hard to watch.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, a lot of my focus with the child that I've been working with has been spending time with him and helping him to figure out what works for him and how he learns and how he copes and how he manages things.
Mm.
And it's been so special for me to be able to do that with him and to watch him grow over the last 4 years. And he'll be moving on to secondary school in September. Um,
Mm.
and I feel like as much as he's not mine, I think I've been with him such a long time. It's almost
Mm.
like I feel like he's flying the nest, but I'm so proud of this,
Mm.
wonderful young man that he's turning into. Um, and I'm so grateful to have had that opportunity to
Mm.
be with him through that journey. Um, and I've been very lucky, obviously, to have the personal experience as well. I've kind of been able to do it from a professional, but also a personal point of
Mm,
view. So,
beautiful. It is
yeah,
a privilege. Yeah, it is a
yeah,
privilege. And how lucky is he to have you, and his final year in primary school, because that's a big step for them then to move on to
yeah.
secondary
It's
school. And the
huge.
more
Yeah,
ready in terms of feeling confident, feeling just good in their own skin, the more they feel this way, the easier the transition will
yeah,
be. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I know is like most of your work with the children themselves, or do you work with sort of young adults, or do you cover all ages?
So I'd say I think the youngest boy I've worked with was 5. Um, and I had a client, I think it was last year, who was nearly 17. So the span is wide.
Yeah.
Um, and I will say that my work has evolved also to basically include other highly sensitive neurodivergent individuals. So it's mostly women because as I guess more adults realize that actually they're on the spectrum as well, and they kind of deal with it and are navigating different life situations that maybe from their experience may be different or maybe more challenging than for a neurotypical, even though we're not going to go that. We don't have time, but I mean, even the word neurotypical, like what is it, right? Who's typical? There isn't really a typical person, but
No.
never mind. So, yeah, um, age-wise, yeah, any age, really, and I seem to attract boys a lot. I have 2 sons myself. They're now 15 and 13, so perhaps there is something about that. But yeah, I've had supported girls as well, and um, I remember the first child I worked with, this was actually at the very beginning when I was first drawn into working with children. I was a mentor with the Rice Trust here in Chippenham as a mentor at schools. So a mentor at school in schools supports any child that basically needs extra support, be it emotional, psychological, or like not so much educational, but they may be on the spectrum or there's stuff going on at home or I've supported children. Yeah, there was one that was difficult family situation. Another girl was I think there were 2 children on the spectrum. One was a girl, one was a boy. Um, there was a bereavement and oh yeah, there was a bereavement and a kind of end of life slash bereavement situation. And I just remember it just felt so right and so natural. And I,
Mm.
especially the boy who was also year 5, year 6, then going on to secondary school, he said, "It's like you see inside my head." And I was like, "Is it?" I just and then this is the thing, like you think that everyone has this, like every adult has this ability to kind of connect with the child in this way. And so then I realized actually maybe there's something to it, and that
Yeah.
kind of may led me to kind of try and do my own thing. Um, I didn't go straight into kind of this kind of work. I started off with creative workshops for children, which was all about expressing themselves, just creating a really, a space in which they can do whatever. I'm not a trained artist, but using the arts in a way where you just kind of allow yourself just to do your own thing is
Yeah.
very healing and expansive for the child just to boost their confidence and feel good about themselves. So and then I began to bring in mindfulness into the mix, and it kind of progressed from then on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think, the mindfulness is so important for all of us, whether we're neurotypical, neurodivergent. I think, everybody is just
Mm.
so important to be able to
I
tune
think,
into yourself, isn't it? And really sort of get in your
yeah.
own head.
And the thing with, I guess where I want to say and explain that when it comes to children who are neurodivergent, even though mindfulness has been around now for several years, people still have, in some respect, a limited idea of what it involves. Now, the way I work is very child-led and intuitive, so I bring in kind of, all variations of what mindfulness can be. So it doesn't mean just kind of sitting quietly in a
Yeah,
corner. I can bring in movement, work with sound. We bring in creativity and um, work with colors and using our own voice. And it's just from the outside it might look like, someone even said, it looks like you're playing, like you're
yeah,
but that's that's what's really important to mention, is that I always tailor it to the needs of the child. So what I do with one child may be quite different to what I do with the other.
yeah,
And I don't come in with an agenda, so I might have an idea of structure of a session, but what matters to me is that I get the feedback from the child like straight away about what they need in that moment, and what feels right to them. And if something's not working, we'll find a different way, or they will help me find a way. It's very, I would say, I feel like on a par. So I am there to lead,
yeah,
definitely, but the child is my partner. There's no hierarchy. Like, I'm here,
yeah,
and they need to kind of follow what I say, which is, I think, such a contrast to what happens at school, where, and you know, I mean, this can't be easy for any child, but basically they have no say. They
yeah,
have, no one takes into account kind of their ideas, their wishes.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
mm,
Yeah, I mean it's so hard. I mean the current class that I work with, it's a very high needs, there's a high percentage of children in the
mm,
class that have varying needs, and trying to meet all of those needs is nigh on impossible. Like, while you're trying to cater for one, you're struggling to kind of meet the needs for the others, and it's this
mm,
constant juggling. And I think, it's not only is exhausting for the staff who are trying to juggle it, but it's exhausting for the children who are
mm.
trying to find their way. Um, yeah, it's a lot for everybody.
Yeah, I don't envy the teachers, but I would say that there's a lot of focus on what goes on at schools, but there isn't as much focus on actually what happens at home. And as far as I'm concerned, the where the child learns about their own kind of feeling safe in themselves, being happy in themselves. It, the school environment plays a huge part, but it starts at home.
Yeah,
And at home, I mean by the parent. Now, I totally appreciate how much pressure, the parents are under, how exhausting it can be. Um, I don't want to take away from that at all, but the foundation still for me kind of lies within the environment that is at home, and
yeah,
that often leads to the parent having to kind of do work themselves
yeah,
to because it can bring up, well, actually I've got my own needs. I don't know how to regulate myself. I need I need help with this because I don't know how best to relate to my child, how to communicate with them. And that's kind of I've tried to get into schools with my visions. Let's just say I've not been successful yet. Who knows? Um, but yeah, the focus now is on the parent and
Yeah,
empowering them, equipping them just in a way that will be just as supportive as possible. So it's not, this is quite practical, but also, I guess I could be someone like who's a bridge between the child and the parent, and also someone who, if there is something that the parent recognizes that because when we are triggered by what our child does, that's the invitation to actually look at, why is it? That's my approach in a way. Why is it? I'm curious. Why is it that this behavior, causes me such a strong reaction, or, why do I
yeah,
feel so like strongly about this? And oftentimes that's because they kind of touched upon our programming, conditioning, things that um when we look at and work with, we can transmute and change. So we then are able to be the calm, peaceful, we're all human. I'm not saying,
yeah,
I never raise my voice, anything like that, but you have so much self-awareness that actually you can say, actually, this is not the child, this is me, and
yeah,
this is my work, and yeah.
yeah,
So that's and the connection between the parent and the child is so strong. I mean, just because, and you will appreciate this, um, just because they're out of the womb doesn't take away the bond that's been created through the cells,
yeah,
the neurons, everything. They basically stay in our field, into adulthood.
yeah,
You can think about the invisible umbilical cord kind of being there for forever. So my um view of this is that whatever you can do for yourself as a parent, you're actually doing for your child
yeah,
as well.
yeah. I
Mm.
completely agree. I mean, uh, when my son was younger, I put in a lot of time working to anything we were offered, I jumped at. Things to do, things that we could do together to learn together about his experiences. Like you say, tapping into my own, like, what are my triggers? Why am I reacting this way to his
Mm.
behaviors? Um, you know, I worked as hard as I possibly could to try and
Mm.
make things as positive as I possibly could for him. And now that he's older, he he's so hypersensitive to me and my moods, and it's it scares me sometimes how tapped into me he is.
Mm.
Um, and sometimes I'll say to my mum, I don't know, like there's something not quite right with him. And she's like, well, that's because you're dealing with this and he is feeding off of that. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh yeah. So yeah, it's incredible. Like you say, it's almost like that cord hasn't been broken
Mm.
sometimes.
Mm.
It's incredible. But yeah, you're absolutely right, to make their journey as smooth as possible, we also have to be working on ourselves and
Mm.
understanding ourselves. So yeah, it's
I think
what you
I think
do
I'll
there, I
just
think
add to
is
that I don't mean this to put extra pressure on parents, because the base is, from my perspective, everyone is doing their absolute best,
yeah,
at all times. It's just that it's a real invitation to grow as a person, be a better version of
yeah,
yourself, to a point you could probably have never imagined. And everyone, and everyone will benefit from us kind of doing this kind of work. And but you will also notice that as you grow, the child, your experience and the child's experience is kind of, and the intensity of it hopefully kind of begin to get easier. And because you when you become attuned and aware into what goes on for them, there's so much you can do as a prevention.
Yeah.
You can also you just cater to their needs in a way that is just right for them. And the invitation here is actually to use your instinct and your intuition more so. I mean, as amazing as it is to educate yourself, but what I found is that I was the best parent or the best mom when I actually just listened to that inner voice,
Yeah.
that was sending me these signals about like there's something's off
Hmm.
here and it doesn't quite sit right with what I'm hearing or reading here. Well, let's just do it your way.
Yeah.
Um, but there is the one, I think what's really helped me was to become what's called like a respectful parent. So I have learned ways to communicate with my children that mm, is empathic, is gentle, yet you still hold boundaries, but it's very different to the way that I was brought up.
Yeah.
So there's a whole parenting aspect to this, which is what I support parents with.
So I love what you were saying about following your instinct and your intuition, because that is one of the key messages that I want to put out there as a doula is from experience. I know that as a first-time parent, especially, I tried to do everything by the book. I tried to do everything that everybody told me, and I was ignoring my own instincts. And in hindsight, I can see that actually I made my life a lot harder. I
Mm,
wasn't doing the right thing by my baby necessarily. Um, and I think by the time I got to baby number three, I was like, I'm just going to do what feels right. And
mm,
he was a much happier baby. And I was a much happier mum because I was just doing what was right for us rather than trying to do what everybody else was telling us was the right thing. And I'm not saying that, I did crazy things as a mother. Um, I followed guidance, that needs to be followed sometimes, but there were other things that, I'm like, we don't need to be strict on that. I can do this my
mm,
way. So
mm.
yeah, that's one of my key messages too, is just listen to yourself.
Yeah. I'm so on board with this. That was a huge aspect of yeah, unlearning to
Yeah,
listen to the what the outside world is saying. But it's
yeah,
tricky, isn't it? You want to get it right.
yeah,
And most of us have been conditioned to kind of listen to the experts and
yeah,
the information out there, and you want to get it right. So it's definitely been a journey. And it is really interesting how the subsequent children are somehow easier because you're more trusting of like, you know,
yeah,
I'm just gonna follow what feels right. This is perfect. You've described it perfectly. It's about what feels right. So yes, you do have some basic knowledge. Obviously, you're trying to keep your child safe and all
yeah,
that. But beyond that, it's like, is this right for us? And then again, you've got even the siblings. So what may be right for one may not be right for the other. And then, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Mm,
definitely,
beautiful.
definitely.
Yeah.
Um, so if people want to get in touch with you, what is the
Mm.
best way?
Okay, so I have a website which is currently undergoing some updates, but you can have a just to get a basic idea. I'll point you in that direction. So it's mindcraftkids.com. I am quite active on social media, so I have a Facebook page, Minecraft, and I put a lot on my profile as well. Katerina Newbury. I'm on Instagram at Katerina_Minecraft. And I have a little YouTube channel that yeah, there are a few videos and podcast interviews. I'm not doing podcasts at the moment, but there's lots of interesting conversations. And I'm very open to receiving messages, emails, really encourage people just to get in touch. There's never any kind of strings attached or expectations. I just love to, support people and
Yeah.
connect with them and point them in the right direction if necessary. Um, yeah, I don't know if there is anything else. Yeah, I have a Substack. I mean, there's there's a whole list of things, but um, yeah, I guess I'll just say I work both in person and online. So for those who live in Chippenham and locally, they can see me in person. But I also work online, and interestingly enough, it works really well with lots of autistic kids.
Yeah.
Um, um, a lot of them actually prefer not having that the direct kind of eye contact. There's a little bit of
Yeah.
a distance. I don't mind if they're not looking at me. I completely appreciate if they're doodling whilst we're trying to do something else. This is what I mean. There's like the space is created for them to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an option as well.
Amazing. Well, I'll make sure I put in all your links to your website and your social media and everything in with our video so that hopefully people can just click on that and get straight to you. Did you want to talk as well a little bit? I know you do your monthly sessions, don't you? Once a month in Chippenham. Do you want to
Yeah,
mention that?
I'll extend an invitation to anyone who's local to Chippenham. So I hold monthly mindfulness meditation and sandbath sessions in the center of Chippenham. It's a beautiful space for everyone to experience a bit of inner peace, still the mind a little bit, and move from the head into the body because we spend so much time in our heads. Um, and I guess you learn ways to kind of help yourself manage and navigate kind of the challenges of the day as well. We learn very simple by powerful kind of breathing exercises, mindfulness exercises that just help you to ground, to calm. And then I always guide the attendees through guided meditation, which is always like an imaginative journey. And people sometimes drift off, some people listen. It's really up to them. And then I conclude with a sound bath. So, sound is a beautiful way to kind of restore and renew and help the body really experience deep relaxation. And it's not a relaxation in terms of I can sit here with a cup of tea and check my phone or anything. But it is what you're aiding the body and the mind is the opportunity to really move from the never ending being on the hamster wheel where you're just running your life from your head, where you almost like sleepwalk through life and you actually
Mm,
drop down into the body, and your body receives this signal like I can just exhale and relax. And that's where regeneration and renewal actually happens. So you're actually not doing just something for your mind, you're actually aiding your body to regenerate as well. And everyone knows that stress is the greatest cause of all chronic illnesses. So anything
Yeah.
you can do to de-stress um, is is amazing. And one, I'll add that, I can work, or it can be perceived as kind of holistically, or bringing the alternative approaches. So I am very open to bring this a space for kind of inner exploration, tuning into kind of your body, mind, and spirit, because with the ways things are going in the world, people are realizing there's only so much the mind can kind of explain and um, give you answers for. There's a lot more that kind of creates our reality that is beyond the mind. And yeah, so here's my invitation. So we meet every first Monday of the month, unless it's a bank holiday. And the next one means it's going to be the 6th of July, 7:30 in the evening, at Platinum Hall, which is a beautiful venue just opposite St. Andrew's Church, for those who know Chippenham. And no previous experience necessary. Everyone's welcome.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. It has been amazing chatting with you. And I look forward to getting to know you more.
Thank you so much, Jackie. It's
No,
been a
thank
real
you.
pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, it's
Thank
been
you very
wonderful. Yeah.
much. Take
Thank you.
care.
Yeah, take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.